Winning Blueprint presents.
It's the Redskins Report. So it's everything Redskins and anything of the sort. That's right, there's nothing here to hide. Skins colors are so bold, man, I wear 'em with pride. So get this Skins Report. Recap of Sunday's game and anything of the sort. Whether it's losses or wins, it's all skins. Come get it. I'm holding down the fort. You know why? 'Cause it's the Redskins Report. Man, can't nobody tell me that, man. I've been watching Redskins football since I was 3. Where were you at on January 12th, 1991? I know where I was at. I was in my room crying because the Redskins just lost to the San Francisco 49ers in the divisional round of the playoffs. That's real. I'm serious. That's real. Man, just tune into the show, man. Just tune in. The Redskins Report.
When you see this black, that means we took one on the chin. Hi, I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me on the Redskins Report. This is the Week 6 edition, which means we are going to take a look back at the Week 5 matchup between the Atlanta Falcons and the Washington Redskins. In this game, the Atlanta Falcons came into this game 4-0. The Redskins 2-2 on the season. And so the Redskins were looking to climb up over 500. And with the happenings of the day, look to climb into a tie for first place in the NFC East. Meanwhile, the Atlanta Falcons, who were rolling 4-0 on the season, in a division that sees the second place team sport a 1-3 record, they have no worries in their division. They're going to win. They're going to coast in that division. Now they're just trying to stockpile wins and be as high a seed as they can in the NFC conference. And so the Falcons have been scoring points and being very efficient and explosive on offense to this point in the season. And so with the Redskins being one of the worst teams on defense, especially stopping the pass, and the Falcons being one of the better passing teams in all of football, especially with that tandem of receivers that they have in Julio Jones and Roddy White, everyone figured this was going to be a blowout. The Redskins were going to get points scored on them, and they were going to struggle in stopping the pass, and the Falcons were going to rack up 30-plus points on the Redskins in a rout. I didn't think that was going to be the case. Now, I always think we have a chance to win, but going into this game, I knew it was going to be tough for us to win because their strength was our weakness. They can pass the football. We have trouble stopping people from passing the football. And so I knew that was going to be an issue going into this game. But I said on the preview for this game, I said that the Redskins somehow, some way, when teams come into FedEx Field that are playing really well on offense, we find a way to slow them down. We won't stop them totally, but we will slow them down and give ourselves a chance. Now, we normally don't win the game, as evident of our 8-game losing streak at FedEx Field. We normally don't win the game, but we do slow them down and give ourselves a fighting chance in the fourth quarter to win. That's all you can ask for. Again, as a team in the National Football League, as a fan, as a coach, as a player, all you can ask for is a chance to win in the fourth quarter. And we had more than a chance. We had the lead in the fourth quarter. And so we had every opportunity to win this football game, but we didn't get it done. And so let's start to talk about what happened throughout the course of this football game to lead us to a 24-17 defeat at the hands of the Atlanta Falcons to drop our record to 2-3 on the season and take the Falcons to 5-0. The Redskins did something beautifully to start this football game. Mike Shanahan, for the second consecutive week, won the opening toss and decided to defer. I love that option. I think more teams need to adopt that. I'm glad that he's doing that because, again, if a team takes the football down your throat on the first possession and scores a touchdown, you can match that. And you can wipe out that opening drive touchdown with your own and cancel it out. There's really no momentum gained or lost by giving up a touchdown early in a football game. A lot of people think, and that's the old notion, that if you give up a touchdown in the opening possession, it sets the tone. Oh, we're going to go set the tone. I got 15 plays scripted and I want to run them right now. Forget about that. You're going to get to run your 15 scripted plays that you had from practice that you want to carry out, you're going to get to run those. There should be no hurry. Especially when you're home. I think it goes for both ways, home or away, but even more so when you're home. If you win a toss, put your defense on the field first. The crowd is amped. They can't wait. They're screaming. They're yelling. They're ready to explode. They're already amped and in the game after the kickoff. Why not let your defense feed off of that energy? Don't put your offense out there and make the crowd have to settle down and be quiet and let the offense work. Put your defense out there to feed off that energy. And I love the fact that Mike Shanahan has done that 2 consecutive games in a row. Now, the Falcons get the opening kickoff, and they have a penalty on it, so it starts them back deep into their own territory, which is good for us. We need every single piece of help we can get. So the Falcons start deep in their own territory, inside their own 20. And we allow them to pick up a third down, something that ended up being a theme of the day, a trend. They get a first down, and they get a couple of first downs on this possession. And I got a little worried after about the second or maybe the third first down. Maybe this could be a long day. And again, I was holding steadfast to the belief that we were going to slow them down. And so if they were able to come out early on and establish themselves on the offensive end, because I know they weren't going to run the ball. I'm not afraid of Michael Turner. I'm not afraid of him. And our run defense is not bad. We play run defense. That's not our problem. Our problem is we don't stop the pass. And so I wasn't afraid of Michael Turner. What I was afraid of was Matt Ryan, Roddy White, Tony Gonzalez, and Julio Jones. I was afraid of that passing game. Sprinkling a little Harry Douglas, and I was afraid. So we were able to get off the field on a third down and force the punt. I was very pleased with that. And it was a dreary day at FedEx Field. It was one of those, fall days. It looked like the middle of fall. It looked like a fall day in Washington or in Maryland. And so it was a football day. Great day to play football. And so we get the ball, and I'm thinking, okay, they punted. Let's make them pay for punting the football. We had been scoring points all season long thus to this point. And so I was very pleased with us making them punt. Now I wanted to make them pay for punting. I wanted them to feel like they have to score on every possession. Put extra pressure on these guys to perform. Maybe they'll make mistakes even if we get a field goal. We keep stockpiling points. They'll feel the need to have to score. Maybe Matt Ryan will press something, make a throw, try to force one in that's not there. Maybe we get a turnover. Maybe he holds on to the ball too long, trying to wait for someone to come open. We get there, strip him, get a fumble, get a turnover. I was looking for things to happen. But it all stemmed from us taking advantage of Falcon punts, Falcon turnovers. Anytime we got a chance to touch the football, we needed to try to score points. And so we got the football, and we did nothing with it. And it was apparent in this game early on that Robert Griffin III wasn't going to be as sharp as he had been in the first 4 games. And our receivers weren't going to be as sharp as they were in the first 4 games as well. Aldrick Robinson had a nice little catch on the first drive. It was good to see him back out there off of that concussion a week ago where he missed the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. Good to see him back out on the field. And I thought I was going to see a lot of Aldrick Robinson in this game because he's a speedster. I love getting the ball in his hands. I don't think we get him the football enough. That was the only time Aldrick Robinson made an appearance with the football in his hands in his football game. So we go get into third and manageable. And I think that's something that's key for the Redskins, staying in third and manageable. And we were able to do that. I thought we were going to punt. I thought we were going to go 3 and out. But we handed the ball off to Alfred Morris. And as he's done so prolifically in this first quarter of the season, he bust off a nice run, got us a first down, and kind of got us some confidence, got us a little bit of rhythm. And I love him because the first guy doesn't bring him down. The first guy is not going to tackle Alfred Morris. He runs through tackles. He's falling forward. And he's a beast with the football. I love Alfred Morris. I love what he brings to our running game. And I think he's deceptively fast as well. If we can get him to the second level, I think he can make things happen. I like when he has the football in his hands. And sometimes I wish we find a way to get him 22 carries instead of stopping him at 16, 17, 18 carries, which we have done in just about every game this season. But then again, I have to remind myself, he's a rookie. And you don't want to wear this guy out. College players that come into the NFL are used to playing 10, 11, 12 games in a season. And so they're not used to toting the rock 250 times. That's a lot of times. And so he's on pace to do that right now. He's on pace to probably carry the ball about 230 times. And that's a lot for him. So I have to remember that he's a rookie and we got to keep scaling him back. I think what they're doing with him is perfect. Don't overwork him. Don't overload him. But I would love to see him carry the ball a lot later in football games and be effective. Because he's effective in the first half. In every game this season, he's been effective in the first half. As the game has worn on, he's been less effective. And I think that's the direct opposite of what we're looking for. I honestly would prefer him to be more effective in the second half. But I want him to be effective in the first and in the second half. But he came out in this game, busted off a few big runs early on to really give us confidence, give that offensive line confidence that they can block this Atlanta Falcons team up front and create holes. The wide receivers did a great job of blocking. Tight ends did a phenomenal job of holding their blocks. And Alfred Morris did the rest. And we really ran the football well early in this football game. This drive amounted to nothing, however, as we had to punt Robert Griffin III. He made some really questionable throws, and not in terms of decision, but just in terms of accuracy. His accuracy was not where it had been in the first 4 games of the season. But still, his receivers need to help him out. Every pass isn't going to be perfect. And in this game, Pierre Garçon, for the first time in a Redskins uniform, reverted back to his old ways as an Indianapolis Colt. He had the dropsies as a Colt. That was one of his MOs. Every now and again, he would have lapses in concentration and just flat out drop the football. It was not uncommon for him to drop the football in an Indianapolis Colts uniform. He would drop the football on one play and then, like he did against us, make a phenomenal one-hand grab, and you say, wow, that man has a great set of hands. But every now and again, he'll drop it on you. And we saw that side of Pierre Garçon for the first time in the Redskins uniform on Sunday against the Falcons. On a critical third down, early in this football game, he dropped the football. It's going to happen. Again, Fred Davis had a drop on third down. Santana Moss had a drop on third down. These were all throws that could have been better on the part of Robert Griffin III. But nonetheless, these are NFL players who get paid to make catches. Tough ones at that. These were catches that they should have made. They dropped them. We had to punt. And so we punt the football away to the Atlanta Falcons. And I thought we did a beautiful job of punting. Sam Rocker did a great job of punting, as he normally does. And the Falcons never really had good field position in the first half at all. I really loved the way we were able to get down and cover. Lorenzo Alexander, if not for him, how many kickoff and punt returns would we give up in a season? I mean, how many tackles does this man make on special teams? It seems like every single tackle we make on special teams, punt, kickoff, neither, it doesn't matter. He's in on it, if not making it solo by himself. He's a definitely an asset, someone that we treasure on our special teams unit. Without him, I don't know where we would be on special teams. And so we kept the Falcons having to go, a long distance to score points. And I thought that was the key in the first half. They didn't get short fields. Even when we weren't able to do anything on offense, we at least picked up a first down or two to keep the field position balanced so that we weren't punting from inside our own 20-yard line and giving them, the ball at the 37. That's an explosive offense. You don't want to give them any prime field position to go score points. And I thought we did a great job of pinning them inside the 20, 17, the 11, the 20, the 16. They always started somewhere around their own 20 and back. And that's what we needed to do. And so it made them have to accumulate first downs to get points. And in this league, if you don't give up the big play, make teams have to put together lengthy drives, things happen. Whether a pass gets batted, whether you get a false start penalty, you get a holding penalty, a clipping penalty, anything can happen that can really offset a drive and stop whatever momentum you had on a possession, can really halt it and stop it in its tracks. And that's what you need to do. That's why it's important that we don't give up big plays. And we didn't in this game for the most part. And that's what allowed us to stay in this game. But one thing I noticed early on in this football game, and I thought that if it didn't change, we were going to be in trouble, was we didn't get any pressure on Matt Ryan. And I kept saying time and time again, we have to get pressure. He was building a house back there. Literally, he had time to scan through all of his reads and then go back over those reads again to see if someone had come open the second time around. We weren't getting any pressure on Matt Ryan whatsoever. And to make matters worse, not getting pressure on him, we really exacerbated our problems by not tackling well. We're not a good tackling football team. I've come to grips with that, and I've already told myself mentally, look, prepare for guys to miss tackles because we're not a good tackling football team. We don't tackle well out in space. Instead of us going and attacking, ball carriers, we wait for them. And when you wait for guys, you miss. It's easier to miss when you just stand flat-footed, give them a chance to juke, you go for it, and now you're out of position and they make you miss. It was a number of times where I looked at Josh Wilson out in the flats, and I'm like, Josh, go attack him. Go attack him. Go attack him. And Josh would just stand there, flat-footed. And the receiver would juke, give him a move, and then laterally beat him to a spot and get past him and get 5 yards. And if you want to be a good football team, you want to know what separates the 49ers, the Ravens, the Steelers, the Texans, all these other teams who play really good defense between them and the good and the bad teams on defense in the league, like the Redskins. It's tackling. That's the biggest difference between those teams and the Redskins. Yeah, the Redskins give up their fair share of big plays, and they can't cover. They don't have the horses on the outside to get it done. And it would be nice if we got a little bit of pressure on the quarterback. But all that aside, if we just tackle better, I guarantee you the Falcons wouldn't be 9 for 17 on third downs. I guarantee you that. I guarantee you that number is more like 4 of 17, maybe 5 of 17, instead of 9 of 17, instead of up over 50%. There was many times where Tony Gonzalez caught a 6-yard pass on 3rd and 8, 4-yard pass on 3rd and 6. And instead of us, and it's 2 defenders. It's not just one. It's 2 defenders. Instead of them going to his legs, wrapping up and making a sound form tackle, they're going up high. You can't tackle guys like Tony Gonzalez, Julio Jones, Michael Turner. You can't tackle them up high. They're too big. They'll just drag your small behind up and down the field for extra yardage. And that's what they did all day Sunday. Can't tell you how many times I'm screaming at these guys, shoot their cuffs. Shoot the cuffs. Go after the legs. You can't run anywhere without your legs. Make a sound form tackle. The one sound form tackle Josh Wilson made in this football game on the 3rd and 3 against Julio Jones on a wide receiver screen, which was an excellent play. Well, guess what he did? He shot his cuffs. He went down to his legs, pulled his ankles, and pulled him down to the ground and didn't allow him to get any more yards after the catch. That's how you tackle in the National Football League. Everybody wants to go for the kill shot. They want to go up high. Well, if you're a corner, if you can't tackle that well, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to embarrass yourself? Why would you want to miss the tackle? Go down low. You can't go anywhere without your legs. Make a sound tackle. Stop them from picking up extra yards after the catch. We don't do that well. And even London Fletcher was missing tackles in this game. He bounced off of Tony Gonzalez a few times. Go down low. I swear, Josh Wilson had a play in this game where Julio Jones catches the ball by the sidelines. He goes and grabs him around his chest and waist, and Julio drags him 4 yards for a first down. I'm like, push him out of bounds, man. What are you doing? He's right by the sidelines. The sidelines is your friend. Give him a hard 2-hand chuck right out of bounds. No, he wants to go grab him around the waist. Julio's like, this is like me squatting. I'm just going to pull you along for an extra 4 yards and get a first down. Push him out of bounds. Be smart. I don't think we're smart. We're not a smart tackling football team. We don't use our head. D'Angelo Hall, however, he is tackling so much better this year. I'm very proud of him. Moving on. So it was a back and forth game. No points were scored in the first quarter. And honestly, I was really loving the way this game was going because if we could hold the Falcons down, the less amount of points scored, the better for us. You know, if this game turns into a shootout, we've been scoring points this year, but we don't want to get in a shootout with the Falcons. We want this game to be 20-17, 24-20. That's right in our wheelhouse. If we can keep them somewhere in that vicinity, I felt like we would have a great chance to win this football game. And so no points in the first quarter was well on the way to that happening. And so I felt good after the first quarter. So the second quarter commences. A lot of the same continues to happen. Nothing's really going on. And then on a third down play, the Falcons look to cut Ryan Kerrigan. I think he's one of the smartest and most instinctive outside linebackers when it comes to guys trying to cut him. If you don't get a good cut on Ryan Kerrigan, he's going to know something is up. He's not one of these guys that he's easy to cut A and B. If you don't cut him, he's going to just come after your quarterback like a madman. Once you try to cut him, he understands what's going on. It's a quick pass. Something's going on quickly, and it's probably to my side. That's why they're trying to cut me. And so the tackle on that side missed the cut, and Ryan Kerrigan instinctively went out widened his stance as far as where he wanted to rush. And then he set eyes on Matt Ryan, saw him about to throw the football, got his hands up, jumped in the air, batted the ball to himself, as he did last year against the Giants. And this time, he bobbled it several times. I thought he was going to drop it, but somehow corrals it, picks it off, and I said, you better not let Matt Ryan catch you. You better not let him catch you. He said, I got you, man. I got you. I'm good. I ran him to the end zone, and we're on the board. And I said, if we're going to beat the Falcons, these are plays that we need to have happen. We need to turn them over and turn it into points and turn it into touchdowns, more specifically. And that's exactly what Ryan Kerrigan did all on one play. He turned the Falcons over, got points on the board, and got us jump-started in this football game. I thought that was a huge play early on. I really felt like this could be our day. It's raining outside. It's cloudy. It's dreary. Not a really conducive environment for passing the football all over the place. We can win this game. We can slow it down. Alfred Morris was running great to this point. We can slow this game down to a snail's pace and win this football game. And so we go up 7-0, and I'm feeling good about this game. We continue to stop the Falcons on offense. They're not doing anything. I'm a little disappointed in our offense, however. We're dropping passes. We're not taking advantage of huge runs by Alfred Morris. And so I'm feeling like we got to get something going. We're not being aggressive on offense. I thought this offense in the first half really resembled the preseason offense. It looked really vanilla. We weren't doing anything. And I think what we did, what Mike Shanahan really did in this game, was he outsmarted himself. I think he was trying to outsmart Mike Smith and the Falcons by not using the same game plan that the Panthers used a week ago. Because the Panthers, they used, of course, with Cam Newton, used a lot of spread offense, a lot of read option, and they used a lot of Cam Newton using his legs to extend plays and make plays. I mean, Cam Newton had his highest rushing output of his career against the Falcons a week ago. And so they knew we watched that film, and they knew that Robert Griffin III had been doing a lot of the same things that Cam Newton did against them a week ago all season long. And so their prime goal was to stop him from doing that. And so I think Mike Shanahan said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to abandon all of that and just play traditional offense. They won't be ready for that. They're going to spend 80% of their practice this week stopping the triple option, stopping the read option. And we're just going to come out and run traditional offense and see how they like that. We're not going to run the pistol. We're not going to do a lot of zone, read, option. We're just going to come out, play action fake, under center, drop back, pass, a few shotgun passes. And we're going to be a conventional offense and see if they're really prepared to stop that. And I thought that was to the Falcons' advantage. We need to be who we are. Don't worry about what they game plan for. Give it to them anyway. It's really a fun thing. And it's really beautiful to see when you know something's coming and you still can't stop it. You know, that was the beauty in the Redskins in the 80s. When you knew John Riggins was coming. You knew it was coming. You knew it was Diesel time. You know it was going to be Diesel power. Could you stop it? No. And that's what I want us to become, a team that you know is coming. You know at the 7-yard line, Robert Griffin III running a quarterback draw is coming. Can you stop it? Good luck. I mean, I want to pass in the red zone too. But let's have some bread and butter, and let's have it be able to be buttered at all times. And so That was disappointing that we went away from our game plan to try to outfox the Falcons on this one when I don't think it was necessary. We've been scoring points all year doing what we have been doing, which is being creative, using the talents that Robert Griffin III possessed, and going out and scoring points and putting points on the scoreboard. We didn't do that, and we allowed the Falcons to hang around, and you knew eventually this team was going to score points. What was disappointing, though, was that we put together a drive right before halftime, a little bit, over 2 minutes remaining in the first half. We take the ball down the field, an impressive drive that we were looking to get 7 out of. I was hoping to get 7 out of. Didn't happen. Forced to kick a field goal from about the 12, maybe the 14-yard line. It ended up being 31 yards, so that tells you it stopped right around the 14-yard line. And so we bring on Billy Cundiff, and at this point, I'm thinking he's going to make this one. I thought it's too early in the game for him to be missing 31-yard field goal kicks. There should be no pressure on him. It's a simple kick. He got over that mountain last week. He climbed that mountain. It's a new week. He had time to clear his head. Heard he had a great week of practice. He's going to pound this one through. We're going to be up 10-0 against the Falcons, a team who has not trailed at the half at all this year. And we're going to look to do things in the second half. This is why you get the ball after halftime. This is why I think it's a smart move. We go to half, up 10-0, possibly even more. If we get the Falcons to punt, we force Matt Ryan into a mistake trying to press. Now they're down double figures for the first time this season. Maybe he tries to force it into a tight window. We pick it off. Maybe we go the other way. Maybe we don't. Maybe we just force them to punt. We still got 2 timeouts. Maybe we get another field goal. Maybe we get another touchdown. I don't know. We're playing the if game. I hate playing the if game. Who knows what would have happened? Those are all if scenarios. Billy Cundiff missed the 31-yard field goal, though. So none of those things got to happen. We never got to see what this game could have truly have been for the Redskins because he missed. And with that miss went the momentum of the game for the Redskins. You can't miss 31-yard field goals after putting together a very lengthy and productive drive and get nothing from it and have nothing to show from it. Not only did that take 3 points off the board, but it gave the momentum to the Falcons and the ability for them to take the ball from where we missed the field goal, which to them was prime field position, which they haven't had good field position all game long. So they would take it anywhere they could get it. And it was a miss. So now they're feeling good about themselves. Hey, let's go make them pay for missing that field goal. And that's exactly what they did. They proceeded to drive about 80 yards down the field and get a touchdown. Tie the ball game up. And all of a sudden, you go from all the momentum in your favor, you dominating a football game, you have a chance to be up possibly 10-0, maybe even more at the half. Instead, it's a 7-7 ball game. They feel good about what they've just been able to do. And now they got the momentum going into halftime. They feel like we're the better team. We didn't play our best football in the first half. And it's tied. We're going to win this football game. And so we get the ball back, and we got about maybe 40, 45 seconds left. All of our timeouts, though, so I'm feeling good. I'm like, the one thing that has been killing me all season long, I've said it in all these Redskins reports, and it's really, really made me angry. Almost to the point that I'm ready to have a mini rant over it. But I'm going to stay reserved on it because Robert Griffin III did make a mistake against the Rams before halftime. And so I think in the back of the coaching staff's mind, they're thinking, all right, we already surrendered our lead. Robert might be pressing here because he might feel like he needs to make a play because we just gave up a touchdown. How about we just go to half with the football? We get it after halftime. No need for us to press the issue and force a turnover and give the Falcons a chance to have the lead at halftime. So I understand that logic, but this is the thing. You want to be a good team, you can't worry about those type of things. You have to throw caution to the wind. Score points. That's the name of the game, score points. You got to score points every opportunity that you get in this league. Simple as that. Bottom line. If you get an opportunity to score, go score. You get the ball, I don't care if you got 37 seconds. I don't care if you have 27 seconds. If you're in position to score, you have timeouts, you think you got the weapons to go get it done, try it. And so and see, this is the thing. This is what my thinking was. Okay, we're at around the 20-yard line. I think we took a knee, something like that. So we're at the 20-yard line. This is my thinking. If we do a draw, which I figured was coming, and we get a good gain off of it, call timeout. Let's try and do something. That was my thinking. That was what was going on in my head when we got the football back. If this first play is successful, which it was, then call timeout. Call some plays in that timeout. Go over to the sideline, which is what Robert Griffin III did. Talk to Mike Shanahan. Mike, you tell him, look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to try a screen now. You want to be safe, but be safe productively. Go out, run a wide receiver screen, or go out and run a running back screen. I don't care which one you pick, your choice. If that gets more yardage, if that's another positive gain, you call another timeout, and now we start taking shots down the field. That was my thinking. That's what I said they're going to do, because that's what smart ball clubs do. We're a smart ball club. We're a smart team. That's what smart teams do. At least that's what my thinking was. But I guess I wasn't on the same page with the coaching staff, because after the timeout, we decided to run the football again. Then we decided to call another timeout. Then we decided to run the football again. Then we decided to go to halftime. What was the logical thinking there? He was just going to bust off a 70-yard run for a touchdown? If you were thinking you wanted to go to half, then just go to half. But my whole thing is be aggressive. We haven't been aggressive in any ball game before half. None. And it's sickening to me. It sickens me to my stomach. Against New Orleans, we were conservative before the half. What happened? Punt block, New Orleans back in the football game. Against Tampa Bay, we were conservative before halftime. Luckily for us, Tampa Bay stinks. They had to punt it right back to us. We used our 3 timeouts and we got a field goal attempt. Didn't make it, but we got a field goal attempt. Again, conservative. We were conservative against the Bengals at home before halftime. Another opportunity to score points. And we wasted it. We squandered it. Got to be more aggressive. The good teams are aggressive at all times. Doesn't matter, how much time you have left. If you have timeouts at your disposal, you don't get to use those in the second half. They don't roll over. Use them. Try and get points. That's the name of the game. So it's very frustrating when I see us have 2 or 3 timeouts left and we don't try to do anything. And our offense can move the football. We have playmakers on offense. Try something. And I think another thing that really limits us in our ability to do things like that is we're not a good screen team. When's the last time you seen the Redskins pop a screen for 65 yards for a touchdown? When's the last time you seen the Redskins run an effective screen and get 30 yards? Hell, 20 yards. We don't run screens effectively. We don't run them often either. I think we've gotten to the point where we just give up on screens. Either we run a tight end screen or a wide receiver screen out wide. We rarely run running back screens, and when we do, they don't get but 5 or 6 yards. I don't know if it's because our linemen aren't athletic enough to get out and make blocks, our running backs aren't patient enough, or we're just not a good screen team. Whatever the case may be, we don't run screens well. We don't run them often enough. And for that reason and that reason, I can't say alone, but that's one of the mitigating factors as to why we can't score before the half, why we don't, put together, shorter drives and do things in the screen game. We need to be more effective screening. Good teams can run screens and get gains off of them. I digress. Let's move on. One more thing about the first half, and then we'll move to the second half. This Redskins defense, to their credit this year, I can say one thing they've been, that they haven't been in the past. This is a feast or famine defense this year. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Because in the past, we didn't get plays, big plays from our defense. It didn't happen. Either we weren't forcing turnovers, and if we did, we weren't scoring off of them. And so this year, we're getting the best of both worlds. We're forcing turnovers, and we're scoring off of them. And so that's a joy to watch if you're a Redskins fan, because it's something that doesn't happen that often, watching the Redskins play football, especially in these past 5 or 6 years. We don't get turnovers. That's the one Achilles heel of this defense. Even when we were in the top 10, we were a bend but don't break defense, but we never really got turnovers. We didn't make teams pay for mistakes. You could throw a football right at us, right at one of our defensive backs. They weren't going to pick it up. We don't make teams pay for mistakes. That's another difference between the 49ers, the Texans, the Packers, and the Redskins. You know, the Packers aren't a great defensive team, but I tell you what, you make a mistake on defense, they will make you pay for it. Tramon Williams, Charles Woodson, and that group, they don't miss opportunities to make interceptions. They don't miss opportunities to make plays on the football. You know, you make a mistake back there, they'll make you pay for it. We don't. You can throw it right to Josh Wilson, with the exception of D'Angelo Hall. You can throw the ball probably to any one of our defensive backs, and they'll probably drop it. Throw it hard enough, make them have to go left or right slightly, and they'll probably drop it. And so we don't make plays, but this year, we've been taking advantage of opportunities that have come our way. If you fumble the football, we've been recovering it. If you throw an errant pass, we've been picking it up. And we've been trying to score with it. And so that's very pleasing. We got 3 defensive touchdowns this season. 3 of them already. 3. I don't know if we had 3 defensive touchdowns all last year. Doubt it. Highly unlikely. I venture to say, and I'm not sure about this, I venture to say that we haven't had 3 defensive touchdowns in the last 2 seasons combined. And so this defense is feast or famine. Either we're feasting and we're eating and we're scoring and we're turning people over, or we're giving up big plays and we're getting annihilated on the defensive end. Look, I said I'll take that, but I want a mixture of both. Get turnovers and stop teams. Why can't we do that? You know why we can't do that? Because we're not good enough at every level of defense. In order to be an elite defense, you need to have one elite player at each level of your defense. Defensive line, someone has to be elite, causing problems. And linebacker, someone has to be elite, causing problems. Someone has to be causing problems and elite in the back half as well. You look at the Ravens. Haloti Ngata, absolute monster and freak up front. You look at the second line. We don't even have to talk about Ray Lewis and all that he brings to the table. And then you look at that back half, they got Ed Reed. I could even tell you that they got Ladarius Webb. I mean, they got players back there. And so you have a player at every level. You look at the 49ers. Justin Smith on that defensive line. Look at their linebackers. Navarro Bowman and Patrick Willis might be the best tandem of middle linebackers in all of football. Then you go all the way to the back. Deshaun Golston, Carlos Rogers. Everybody's making plays back there. They got players in their secondary. Guys who are willing to step up and make plays. And so every level you have someone that can step up and say, I'm elite. I'm a guy that can get it done. We don't have that. We don't have that. We don't have an elite guy on our defensive line. I feel like we have elite linebackers. We don't have anybody in the back half that's elite. So we have one elite player one elite position out of the 3 categories. That's not going to get it done on the defensive end. And so we go on to the second half. And so we come out, we get the ball first, and I told you, I love when you get the ball first in the second half. I think that's a luxury that most teams don't afford themselves. If you can get the ball after halftime, I think you do more damage with your first possession after halftime than you do with the first possession at the beginning of the game. Because if you're already leading in the football game, let's say you're up 3. Let's say the Redskins were up 10-7 in this game. They get the ball after halftime, and they go down, and they get a touchdown. Now you're up 17-7. That's a huge hole to climb out of in the second half. Let's say the Redskins were up 10-0. Say we just get a field goal. Now we're up 13-3. That's 2 touchdowns. They need 2 touchdowns to catch us now. That's a huge lead in the second half, especially if that drive that we put together in the second half is a 8-minute drive. If that's a 13-play, 8-minute and 15-second drive. That's huge. We've ate up half of the third quarter clock, and now they're down 2 scores. So I think that it's more valuable to have the football first in the second half. So we get the ball first in the second half. We don't do anything with it. The Falcons get the football. They do nothing with it. But what was key about that was we were able to pin the Falcons and force them to punt and not allow them to get many first downs. I'm not quite sure. I don't recollect if they got one or not. But it wasn't many. If they got one, that was it. They had to punt. Wasn't the greatest of punts. And then Brandon Banks was able to return it and get a good return and put us in great field position. I mean, really right around midfield, if not past midfield, into Falcons territory. Nonetheless, we get the football. And again, Pierre Garçon struggling on the day. Robert Griffin III throws him the football after a run, his first of the day, and gets about 9 yards. We can pick up the first down, and then he throws a pass to Pierre Garçon, a strike right over the middle that's going to put us in field goal range. And Pierre Garçon does not complete the catch. Luckily, the referees made, if this was the replacement officials, that's a fumble of Falcons football. But luckily enough for us, the real officials, the official officials were in the game. They made the proper call. He didn't get his second foot down without contacting a defender. And so them ripping the ball out constitutes an incomplete pass because he didn't complete the catch. And so the Redskins caught a break there because if that's a fumble, Falcons recover. And our best starting field position of the day is squandered because of a senseless turnover on the part of Pierre Garçon. He has to be stronger with the football. This was a disappointing game for Pierre Garçon. And watching him, I knew one of these was coming because, again, this is what he did in Indianapolis. He's not going to do this all the time. He's going to make more plays than he's not. But he's going to have games like this where he's just going to drop the football. Tell yourself that mentally and be prepared that Pierre Garçon does drop the football, on occasion. So just don't think that every time it's thrown in his direction that it's a simple catch because he will drop the football. And so it didn't surprise me. It was disappointing, but it didn't surprise me. And so luckily for us, we caught a break. We were able to go down, continue to drive, pick up a first down, and get into the red zone. And I wanted to score a touchdown. I said, let's get 7. You're not going to beat the Falcons kicking field goals. I'll tell you that right now. You want to beat this Atlanta Falcons team, got to score touchdowns, especially when you get in the red zone. So we get down there, run a couple of plays, and I felt like quarterback draw has to be coming. John Lynch made reference to it. And so I know the Falcons they game planned for it. They knew it was coming. And so it didn't come. And again, this is what I alluded to earlier. I think Mike Shanahan called himself outsmarting Mike Smith because they had to have prepared for the quarterback draw. We've done it every game this season, and it's worked every game this season. And so they had to be looking for it. What I was looking for, because I kind of figured we haven't done anything running the football with Robert Griffin III wise in this game, so I didn't think we were going to go to it at that point either. What I was looking for was a waggle. Give me the waggle that worked against the Bengals, that worked in the preseason to Santana Moss. Run a couple of slants. Santana come off on that little out curl. And I wanted to see that waggle play. Him roll out, hit Santana on that speed out. Boom, touchdown. I thought it was there to be had. There was a lot of space on that side of the field. That was the wide side of the field. Santana would have had a lot of space to work with. Beat that defender to the outside. Robert lead him out there. Get a touchdown. They didn't call it. I should have been calling plays this game because I thought that everything that I was thinking, I thought I was in sync with the coaching staff. I wasn't. And I thought that everything that I was thinking made a lot of sense. A lot more sense than what we were doing on the field. But again, I don't know what was called. But I thought that was an option that we should have explored. If we're not going to do the quarterback draw, do the next best thing. Quarterback waggle. Get Robert on the outside. Give him the option to run if it's there. If it's not, throw it away. Santana Moss should be able to beat whoever's guarding him on that slot outside on that speed out, on the waggle. It worked for us in the past. I thought it could work again today. We didn't do it. And that's when Robert took that vicious shot. And that's when the game changed for me. Because in my mind, we win this football game if Robert Griffin III stays in the game. I think we played well enough to win this football game, minus the turnovers. And with Robert Griffin III in the game, I think we score more points. It was inevitable that we were going to score points, I thought. We were going to score plus 20 in this game. And his injury really, really put a big cloud over anything that we were going to try to do moving forward. And so, I hate to say this, because that's my boy, Robert Griffin III. That's my boy. That's my dog. I ride with Robert Griffin III to the end. However, you cost us this game. You are responsible for this loss. I'm putting it on your shoulders. Now, I know you feel bad about what you've done, and I feel bad that you took that shot. That was a vicious shot. I don't want to see you taking those type of hits. But that was your own doing. That was your fault. You brought that on yourself. And you got to remember, you are our franchise quarterback. You are our future. Without you, there's no us. So you got to be more responsible with what you're doing on the football field. Because what you do on the field, it impacts everybody. Fans, players, coaches, everybody. And so you got to take care of yourself on the football field. Now, there was nothing to be gained by you turning up the field and dipping your shoulder and trying to slide at that point. Your only options on that play, because you weren't going to get a first down, you weren't going to get a touchdown. There were Falcon defenders everywhere. Unless you were going to pull up your pants and reveal Superman socks and fly into the end zone, you weren't going to score on that play. So your only options was, one, run out of bounds. Two, throw the ball out of bounds. Or three, find an open receiver. You did neither of those. You chose for option 4, which wasn't on the sheet. It wasn't on the list. Go, slide, and take a shot to the head and allow yourself to be knocked out with a concussion and put us in a very precarious situation. And so you cost us this game, Robert. This one is on your shoulders. And so we kicked the field goal, kind of makes a 22-yard field goal, whatever it was, to give us a 10-7 lead. But at this point, no one's thinking about the score in the game. They're thinking about the health of Robert Griffin III, because if he can't come back in this game, and I knew he had a concussion, because when he got up, he started stumbling. I said, oh, that ain't good. That's never good. And so I said, he's done for the day. They took him, right under the stadium. Initially, they didn't take him to the back just to do some quick, background checks to see where he was mentally. He didn't know the score. He didn't know the quarter. That was all they needed to know. He has a concussion. He can't come back. And so, enter Kirk Cousins. I said, all right, defense, you got to stand up now. You can't allow this Falcons team to score points because we're about to bring in another rookie quarterback. So the defense holds initially, but I'm like, defense, you got to keep it up. You can't afford to give up, possessions and points to this Atlanta Falcons team. But Kirk Cousins comes in, and you could tell he was a rookie and he was a little rattled. I thought that he did not do a good job of helping out the offensive line. He held on to the ball too long. He did not step up in the pocket. I thought he got sacked. There were avoidable sacks. The pressure that was on him could have been avoided with a simple step up in the pocket. His pocket presence was not there. And so, John Abraham got around the corner, but it wasn't. He didn't beat, Trent Williams or Tyler Columbus. All he needed to do was take a step up into the pocket. But instead, he just stayed back at the backdrop of the pocket and took a sack and got hit. And it really messed with his throws. And so we had to punt 3 and out. And what this did, these were important drives. Because on a small scale, you look at them and they're just 3 and outs. You see 3 and outs and you see nothing else. But the bigger picture here was that the defense was being put on the field continuously. They weren't getting breaks. And they had already played a number of plays up until this point in the game. And so as these plays started to mount, the numbers started to get up there. We're talking 60. Now we're talking 70. Then we get to 80 amount of plays the defense has played on the field. These snaps started to get up there. the defense started to wear down. You could see it. We already weren't getting rushed. Now they're starting to run the football with Michael Turner. Now these receivers are starting to get open down the field. And so you can see this defense slowly but surely wearing down. And you knew it was coming sooner or later. It wore down, and the Falcons went down the field and scored a touchdown. A beautiful pass from Matt Ryan, an even more beautiful catch by Julio Jones in the corner of the end zone, got both feet down. Josh Wilson was furious because he felt like he did his job on that play. The safety did not do his. Doesn't matter who did their job, who didn't. He caught the touchdown pass. And so we trailed for the first time in this game, 14-10. So now at this point, I'm thinking highly unlikely that we do anything. Now, this is probably the point of the game where they run away from us. Got a rookie quarterback in here who hasn't taken a snap up until the last two possessions. He hasn't done anything yet. Hasn't even really completed a pass yet to get his feet wet. And so at this point, the things are starting to look bleak for the Redskins in this football game. We get the football back. First play doesn't go well. Second play doesn't go well. And it's 3rd and long. And I'm thinking we're probably going to have to punt. Again, defense is probably going to have to go back onto the field again. And then, out of nowhere, we come out. Santana Moss runs a seam route, essentially, almost like a skinny post. No one touches him. He's unabated into the secondary. The safeties don't fall back into their proper positions. He splits the defense, and next thing you know, he's unabated, unmolested in the secondary by himself. Kirk Cousins makes a beautiful throw over top of the defense in stride to Santana Moss, who runs in for a 77-yard touchdown, and the Redskins are back in the lead 17-14. Who knew? Who knew? Who knew it was going to be that simple to get back the lead? And so all of a sudden you're thinking, we have a chance again. And so now we're winning 17-14. Falcons are trailing, and now we're in the fourth quarter. We're halfway through the fourth quarter, so we got a legit shot here. We can play some defense, hunker down, get a stop, get the ball back to the offense. Maybe Kirk can do it again. The defense gets back on the field, and at this point, we're getting up there in snaps. Now, and again, just because we scored doesn't mask the fact that the defense had to go right back on the field. It was like a 3-and-out. We scored in 3 plays. So it was essentially a 3-and-out for the defense. But except this time it was points being put on the scoreboard. But they still had to come on the field. They didn't get a chance to really sip any Gatorade. They didn't get a chance to get any oxygen. They had to come back on the field. And now the plays are starting to mount. Next thing you know, we're at 60. We're at 70 plays. They give up a field goal. So now we're tied at 17 apiece. In their defense, they were giving up a good drive to the Falcons. The Falcons were moving the football looking as if they were going to go get 7. And then Barry Cofield stepped up on consecutive plays. He gets our first and only sack of the day on Matt Ryan, really driving them to the edge, to the brink of field goal range. And then on 3rd and long, tipping the ball at the line of scrimmage, something that he did well last year, which we haven't done well at all this year. We did well against the Saints, but haven't done it since. He got his hands on the football, and it forced the Falcons into a long field goal attempt. And at this point, I'm thinking, fans, stand up, make noise. We got a chance for them to miss this field goal. If they miss that field goal, I think we win the football game because we get prime field position at that point. The momentum would have, totally swung in our favor. And it would have been probably insurmountable at that point. The crowd would have been raucous. We would have had the ball almost at midfield. And it just would have been too good to be true. And, of course, it was because the Falcons have a reliable field goal kicker, something we don't have, something that most teams around the league have. We don't. And Matt Bryant. And he came in and calmly knocked home about a 52, 53, 54-yard field goal, no problem, down the middle. Plenty of distance, great accuracy, and the game's tied. We get the football back, and we couldn't do anything with it. Kirk Cousins, again, showed the fact that he was a rookie. He got the football, held on to it too long, took an unnecessary sack, and then had to dump it off on third down to Evan Royster, and we had to punt. And so we punt the football off to the Atlanta Falcons. And like I said, the plays are mounting. Now we're getting into 70 and close to 80 territory at this point. And so they come on the field, and you can see that the defense is dead tired now. They're exhausted at this point. So Michael Turner, who had done nothing up until this point in the game, now he's getting 6 and 7 in chunks on the ground now. It's something he hadn't done all game. We were stifling him, and he was barely getting back to the line of scrimmage. If he got positive yards, it was 2 or 3 at most, and now he was getting 6 and 7 on every carry. You could tell we were starting to wear down. So they start to march down the field. Matt Ryan is spraying the ball all over. Julio Jones on one play, Tony Gonzalez on another play. You know, they're finding running backs out of the backfield on other plays, and so they're moving the ball, matriculating it down the field. Finally, they get down to about the 11-yard line or so, 2nd and 1, handed off to Turner. I think Madu Williams was supposed to close up that hole on the backside. He took a poor angle and allowed the defender to basically stand him up, creating a huge hole to cut back in for Michael Turner, who used that hole to accelerate. And, you know, once he gets going in the red zone, you can forget about it. If you want to get on for a ride, be my guest. You're not going to stop him from getting in the end zone at that point. He rumbles in from 11. Touchdown. Falcons take a 24-17 lead. And at that point, now you're asking another rookie quarterback, not named Robert Griffin III, to take us down the field and score a touchdown and tie this football game up. That's a tall order. That's a tall task to ask of another rookie quarterback. And so at this point, I hate to say it, but I had already come to the conclusion, come to grips with the fact that we weren't going to win this football game. And for some reason, normally at this point, I'm steamed, I'm upset. I was really numb after this game. Numb, probably more so than any other reason, because Robert Griffin III went down, and I was probably more concerned about his health at this point. But numb because this was a game that we should have won. We had a chance to win. Had Robert Griffin III not went down, I thought we would have won. Had Billy Cundiff not missed that field goal, we might have had a better chance to win. And Kirk Cousins is a young quarterback. You can't expect him to come in and be a savior. I thought he was admirable in his attempt. But as he said himself, he tried to do too much. He held on to the football too long. He made ill-advised throws. He stared down receivers. And the Falcons made him pay for it. That's what NFL defenses do to rookies. You make a mistake, they make you pay. And you can't ask too much out of Kirk Cousins. I thought he played well in the circumstance, in the situation that he was thrusted into. I wasn't even upset that he threw 2 picks. Really, again, I was numb because kind of expected something like that to happen. I expected the game to kind of close on something like that because he's a rookie. And we hadn't done anything to this point other than the Santana Moss play to help him out. Pierre Garçon dropped a perfect pass from Kirk Cousins earlier on in an early possession. Probably the same one that Santana Moss caught a touchdown pass on. In that drive prior to that Moss touchdown, Pierre Garçon dropped another strike. And so we hadn't helped the quarterback out all day. I didn't expect us to just turn it up like that and start making plays. And so it was a loss that is tough to take because that was a winnable game against a team that a lot of people thought was the best in the NFC. If that's the best that the NFC has to offer, if you're a Redskins fan, you probably feel good. I don't feel good. You hear a lot of people, a lot of fans, oh, you guys were close. Oh, we were close. We almost beat them. If the Falcons are the best and we almost beat them, what does that make us? Losers. We lost. Win the football game. And so there are no moral victories in the National Football League. You don't feel better about yourself because you came within a touchdown of beating the best team in the NFC. You don't feel better about that. You lament over the plays that you didn't make and the reason why you lost the game. You don't celebrate the fact that you came within a touchdown or 8 points of winning against the best team or the quote-unquote best team in the NFC. I don't feel good about that. What this says to me is that we still have a long way to go, which I already knew. And what it also says to me is that, the Redskins have to learn how to win football games. Now, all of that starts with having your starting quarterback not put himself in a perilous, situation, which puts the team in an even more arduous situation. And it also requires your field goal kicker to not miss chip shot field goals. So we got to go back to the drawing board, figure this thing out. I think that you have to get rid of Billy Cundiff at this point. Have to find a new field goal kicker. And you can't just replace Billy Cundiff. You can't just get rid of him. You actually need to replace him with someone that can actually make field goals. So don't just go out and get some run-of-the-mill kicker, some retread from another team that's 37 years old who can make a 39-yard field goal but can't make a 47-yard field goal. Actually go out and scout kickers. Find us a strong leg kicker that can make a 51-yard field goal. Look, 54 is a far field goal. For good kickers in this league, they knock that through. But I'm not asking our field goal kicker to come in and pound through 53, 54 yards. I'll be content with a 51-yard field goal. If he can make that and in, I'll take it. I'll take it. But we need a field goal kicker that can make it from 50 and in consistently. Anything after that, it's a crapshoot. Just let me know that he has a strong enough leg to do it, and I'll feel good about it. If he doesn't have the accuracy on any given kick, fine, I'll take that. But if he's 9 of 9 from kicks from 0 to 50 yards, and then he's 1 of 3 from 51 and beyond, I'll take it. I'll take it. Because in this league, you make your money making 40 to 49-yard field goals. It's rare that you're going to have to kick a 54-yard field goal for the win. It happens, but it's rare. Most times, if you're going to have to kick a field goal, teams get as close as possible without feeling like they're jeopardizing the victory or the attempt at a victory. And so you're going to kick a 39 or 43-yard field goal for the win. It's not going to be 54 yards most times. Sometimes you can't get close enough, and that's as close as you can get. You don't have any timeouts. Scared to run another play because game might run out, and so you have to kick a 54-yard field goal. That's rare. Make the kicks that you're supposed to make. If the Redskins could count on a kicker right now throughout the first 5 weeks of the season to make the kicks that they're supposed to make, the Redskins could be 3-2 right now, maybe even 4-1. That's stretching it a bit, but still, the Redskins could have won 3 games already to this point in the season had we had a reliable field goal kicker. And so I think that needs to be done. I think it will be done. And I think that the Redskins have to find out what the status of Robert Griffin III is going to be moving forward. If you can't run with him this week, prepare whoever you're going to put in. And honestly, I know what the Redskins' thinking was when they kept Rex Grossman on the roster. The thinking there was, in a pinch, during an in-game situation, we go with Kirk Cousins because Kirk Cousins is athletic enough to run, the game plan that we had for Robert Griffin III. We can still do a lot of the things that we want to do with him at the quarterback position. And he'll get his feet wet. He'll get some experience, and he'll learn from it, and he'll be a great backup for us. But if we have to go without Robert, who has a high ankle sprain, or he breaks his thumb and has to miss 4 to 6 weeks, then you put Rex Grossman in the game as the Band-Aid, a long-term solution for a Band-Aid, essentially. That's what the thinking was of the coaching staff. I think they got it backwards, however. If you're looking for an in-game spark, you go with Rex Grossman, I think. You go with the proven veteran that's not going to... all right, I can't say he's not going to turn it over. But he's going to give you a better chance because he's seen NFL defenses. He knows what to expect. You go out, you give him plays that he's successful at and hope that he gets it done. And I thought if Rex Grossman played instead of Kirk Cousins on Sunday, maybe we have a better shot at winning. Now, if you tell me Kirk Cousins or our services of our backup is going to be needed for 3 to 6 weeks, then I say you get Kirk Cousins ready And you prepare him to play for the next 6 weeks until Robert Griffin III comes back. And I think that's what the coaching staff should have done. I think they got it backwards, however, because I think, honestly, Robert Griffin III is going to play. If Aldrick Robinson can play after being knocked unconscious for about a minute and a half, and Robert Griffin III was not, and look, I'm not comparing concussions because you don't know what happened. You don't know what the circumstances are behind either one of those concussions. I just think that he's going to pass all the baseline tests. He's going to be okay. He's going to be able to play this week. And I think that they just need to make sure they're cautious in their approach. If you think that there's any kind of setback that may occur, you sit them down. We'll see. We'll see how this week progresses, who they bring in at field goal kicker, who they bring in, or who they're going to decide to start if Robert Griffin III can't go. I think he's going to go, however. And let's look at the next week's game. Let's look at week 6 matchup between the Washington Redskins and the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings are going to be traveling to FedEx Field to do what the last 8 opponents have done, leave FedEx Field with a W. We need a win. We need a win desperately. At home, nonetheless. We're supposed to be making FedEx Field. Now with Robert Griffin III at helm as our quarterback, I feel like the fans are going to show up in drones. They're going to support. They're not going to sell their tickets to opponents. And for the most part, 90 to 95% of FedEx Field is going to be Washington Redskins fans moving forward during the tenure of Robert Griffin III. And so I'm not worried about us supporting the team. I'm worried about the players getting it done on the field, the coaching staff putting players in the right positions to get it done on the field. And so if they do their part, us as fans will do ours. And we got to turn this thing around. Players, fans, coaches, everyone involved. We got to make FedEx Field miserable for the opponent to come into and try to get a victory. We got to turn this thing into an advantage. And until we can do that, we're not going to be a good football team. Good football teams don't drop games at home consistently. A good football team goes 7-1, 6-2 at home in any given season. A good football team does not go 3-5 or 4-4 at home. You don't win consistently in the National Football League losing games at home. That's why it's home. It's supposed to be a home field advantage. Right now, it's a home field disadvantage for the Redskins because we don't win at home. So we got to get off the snide, and I think the Minnesota Vikings are the team that we can do it against. I've been saying that for the last 3 weeks, though, or the last 2 games leading up to this one. I thought we could beat the Bengals. I thought we could beat the Atlanta Falcons. Didn't think we were really going to beat the Falcons, but I thought we had a shot. We did everything we needed to do to win this game. We just didn't get it done. And so now I think if we don't get this one, it could be a while before we do get one. And the Vikings are no pushover. They're 4-1. The Vikings are playing good football. They're not afraid of us. They came into FedEx Field last year. Both their starting running back and starting quarterback got knocked out of the game, and they still beat us. Joe Webb lit us up. We were afraid to tackle Toby Gerhart. And they scored 33 points on us en route to a victory. So the Vikings aren't afraid to come into FedEx Field and get a win. They've done it before. They're a part of this 8-game skid. They're looking to make it 9. They're trying to get 2 victories in this 9-game skid if we go to 9. And so we have to find a way to win at home. The way we're going to do it is we're going to have to first take Adrian Peterson out of the game. If he's running the football effectively, we don't stand a chance because then they can do whatever they want. They can go play action fake. They can get Percy Harvin involved. They can do a myriad of things off of the running game. Let's keep in mind, Christian Ponder is only in his 2nd season in the National Football League. He's been playing really well this season, not making the big mistake, not turning the football over, playing within the offense. And so if we stop the run, make him beat us, maybe we can force him into a few mistakes. That's the hope. The hope is that we stop Adrian Peterson, make them one-dimensional, go after Christian Ponder, force him into turnovers, into errant throws, get those turnovers, turn them into points. That's got to be the formula for success on Sunday at 4:25 at FedEx Field against the Minnesota Vikings. And I don't think we should have a problem stopping the run. I think that we are a stout team against the run. That's not our problem. Our problem is stopping teams from throwing the football. And the Vikings have done that pretty well this season. They haven't been world beaters, but they've been pretty consistent and not turning it over, getting the ball into their playmakers' hands and allowing them to work. Percy Harvin has been an absolute nightmare for every team that he's played against this season, whether it's been on special teams or offense. He's been a problem. Whether he's been in the backfield or out wide catching passes, he's been a matchup nightmare for teams. He's going to be one for us. We don't have anyone that can stop him one-on-one. And they're going to use him in various ways. Out of the backfield, wide receiver screen, hitch, fly. They're going to use him on several different routes, several different combinations, out of the backfield, in special teams. And he's going to be someone we have to keep tabs on. I venture to say that he'll be one of the keys along with Adrian Peterson in that game. You don't stop those two, we don't stand a chance. The Vikings have done a great job this season at winning 2 out of the 3 facets of the game. Whether it's defense, offense, special teams, defense, special teams. They've won 2 out of the 3 in just about every game this season. That's why they're 4-1. You want to win games in the National Football League? Win 2 out of the 3 aspects of the game. You'll win most times than not. And that's what the Vikings have done. So if we want to beat them, we need to be better than them on special teams. And we need to be better than them on offense. Let's be better than them on defense as well. Although I highly doubt that. Let's be better than them in all 3 facets of the game, dominate, and get a victory. But again, that's not the Redskin way right now. We're going to try to eke this thing out. Go in there, stop the run. That should be our primary focus. Stop the run. Then look to take Percy Harvin out of the equation. Look, make these other guys beat us. Make Jerome Simpson. Make Michael Jenkins. Make the tight ends beat us. Don't allow yourself to be beat by the best players on their team. You know they want to go to Percy Harvin. You know they want Adrian Peterson to tote the rock. Make other guys beat you. They have a talented tight end out there in Kyle Rudolph who seems to be building a rapport with Christian Ponder. Make him beat you. Make someone else beat you other than Percy Harvin and Adrian Peterson. The Redskins seem to have a tough time guarding big, rangy tight ends. This is another one in the long list of athletic, rangy, long tight ends with great hands. Kyle Rudolph is going to be a mismatch nightmare for us. London Fletcher is going to run with him, but as usual, London Fletcher is at a height disadvantage. And this guy's got reach. He's got arms like limbs on a tree. So just like Jermaine Gresham was a problem for us, just like Tony Gonzalez was a problem for us, he's going to be a problem for us. Jimmy Graham was a problem for us. Kyle Rudolph is going to be a problem for us. We have to find ways to contain guys and don't allow them to kill us. Every game this season that we've lost, we've been killed by at least one individual performer, whether it's been a tight end or a wide receiver. When we lost to the Bengals, A.J. Green annihilated us. When we lost to the Falcons, Tony Gonzalez had a field day on us. I don't need to talk to you about what Danny Amendola did to us when we lost to the Rams. We have to find a way to slow guys down. And every game this season, we've given up a 100-yard receiver, whether it's been a tight end or a wide receiver. In the first game of the season, it was Lance Moore. In the second game of the season, it was Danny Amendola. Third game of the season, A.J. Green. We gave up 2, I want to say, to the Buccaneers and Mike Williams and Vincent Jackson. And then last week, we gave it up to Tony Gonzalez. And Julio Jones was knocking on the door. We have to stop allowing guys to have career days and go over 100 yards receiving on us. Stop allowing guys to have, consistent production against us. They catch a 4-yard pass, let it stop at 4 yards. This is a big game for us. We dropped to 2-4 on the season and dropped all 3 of our home games to this point. It's going to be exactly what I thought this season was going to be. which was 7-9. We win this game, go to 3-3, beat a team that coming into the game was 4-1 atop their division. Now you're talking business. Now you're right in the thick of things in the NFC East. Now you have a fighter's chance. Now you have a puncher's chance. So this game makes all the difference. Just like we were at a crossroads 2 weeks ago against the Buccaneers, we're at that same crossroads this week. We had to have it against Tampa Bay, or we would have fell 2 games under 500. We got to have it this week against Minnesota, or else we fall 2 games under 500. Once you do that, once you start getting into the danger zone, you find yourself in trouble. And so that's going to be it for the Redskins Report. I thank you for joining me. I will have a little bit more details and my pick and analysis of this game later on in the week. And again, I am a Redskin fan, etched in burgundy and gold. My Redskin spirit will never die. My Redskin spirit will never fold. And as always, hail to the Redskins. Take care. Till next time.
The Redskins Report.